And as you probably already know by now, the Senate just passed the $1.9 trillion spending plan, the new stimulus package, also known as the third stimulus package or the $1,400 check stimulus package, however it's known here on YouTube. And it is all but a done deal that this will be finalized and signed by Joe Biden. The stimulus checks will then begin going out, as well as appropriating funds to all the different sectors. But before we do that, we actually want to make sure that you guys are caught up on who qualifies for what and how you can actually make sure that you get these stimulus checks. Hey everybody, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind, covering these stimulus check packages. If you are new to this channel, please go ahead, click the subscribe button. We've really been growing a lot recently, so I really appreciate all the new subscribers that have come in. You guys have been doing a great job of supporting the channel, being a part of this community, and most of all, smashing that thumbs up button. So to continue to support this channel, that's the best thing you can do. All right, guys, well, let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to cover here are the new qualifications as to who qualifies for what stimulus, for what child tax credits, for those on SSI, SSDI, for people who file their taxes, for people who do not file their taxes, and hopefully we can clear some things up and answer some questions, because I was going over the past several videos and there's a lot of questions revolving around this topic, mainly who qualifies for what, especially those on Social Security, disability, and people that don't file, as well as the child tax credits. I'm going to go over some clarifications on what the Senate voted on that changes some things that I had previously made some videos about, so I'm going to clear that up as well. Okay, so first let's get into who qualifies for these $1,400 stimulus checks. Now, if you're a single person, if you make less than $75,000 on your tax returns, you will qualify for the $1,400. If you're a married couple that makes less than $150,000 on your tax return, you'll qualify for the full $1,400. Now, one of the concessions that Joe Biden made to Joe Manchin was that phase-out plan, meaning if you made a little bit more than that, you would just get less of a stimulus. That phase-out went from $75,000 to $100,000, down to $75,000 to $80,000, so a very short phase-out. Same with married couples. That phase-out number is now $150,000 to $160,000. Anything over $160,000, you will not qualify. So, if you were affected by this pandemic, you made less money, your hours were cut, you were on unemployment, and you want to get your 2020 tax returns in, well, you're running out of time to do that. Because what they're going to do is if you've already submitted your 2020 taxes, they're going to go based on those tax returns. If you haven't had them in, they're going to go based on 2019. You may have made more money in 2019 than you did in 2020. There are tons of people that are now in that situation. So if you're kind of straddling that line or looking like you might be in that phase out area, I definitely suggest getting your tax returns in as quickly as possible. Also, if you had a kid within the last year and you want to add that as a dependent to make sure you get paid for them being your dependent, again, get those tax returns in. All right, now I want to talk about those on Social Security and disability, because it's probably one of the top commented or top questions that I see in my comment section of the videos. So those on Social Security, those on Social Security disability, still qualify to get those $1,400 checks. You're not excluded. You will get those checks. I think there's some confusion by the Biden administration because of what was said last year when he was running for president, talking about the $200 per month increase that he wants to add to those on Social Security. Well, that didn't happen. That was more or less a campaign promise that hasn't happened, or at least hasn't happened yet. It is not included in the stimulus package, the $200 per month increase. Nothing is included for Social Security benefits in this stimulus package, other than you qualify for the $1,400 stimulus check. Now, if you don't file taxes, you traditionally don't file taxes, don't have a tax return, you can still qualify and get the stimulus check, but what you'll have to do is actually go to the IRS website. Go to irs.gov, and they have something there called the My Payment Portal. What that is a section of their website where you are going to need to verify that you are who you say you are. You probably have to answer some contact information questions, and then they're going to need either a bank account or a physical address to actually send a check to, and they're going to need to do that to basically verify that you are the person you say you are, and they can actually send this stimulus money to you. So again, you do qualify as long as you make less than $75,000 as a single, $150,000 as a couple. You do qualify. Now, I also wanted to answer some questions that I've been seeing about the child tax credits and how much they're for, when are they going to show up, when are they going to come, who are they going to send it to, etc., etc. So what was actually done? So as it stands right now, if your child is under the age of 6, they've expanded the child tax credit to $3,600 per child, and if they're under the age of 17 or age 6 to 17, it's $3,000 per child. Now, what they wanted to do was give you an advance of half of that child tax credit expansion. Basically, give you half now or in the form of monthly payments, and then the other half you'll be able to claim on your tax returns and get it as a tax credit. Well, the Senate parliamentarian actually ruled that because it's not a budget issue, or sending out monthly checks is not a budget issue, they basically said that it can't be included in the bill to send out monthly checks or tell people they're sending out monthly checks. So basically what they're doing is allowing the Biden administration to come in and make what they call periodic payments. Now, that has yet to be determined by the Biden administration. It could be monthly, it could be quarterly, possibility of it being a one-time lump sum as well. But basically taking half of that child tax credit and sending it out. So we are going to have to wait on whether or not these will actually be monthly payments, quarterly payments, or a one-time payment. But we do know that they do want to give half of that in advance and allow the rest to be claimed on your tax return as a child tax credit. So, for example, if you have 2 children under the age of 6, you would qualify for $7,200 child tax credit. You would get half of that in the form of either a monthly payment or some sort of periodic payment, which would be $3,600 that you would get in periodic payments, and another $3,600 that you would get on your tax return in the form of a child tax credit. But remember, this is for 1 year only. The Democrats had wanted to go to make this a permanent thing or possibly a 2 to 3 year program, but as it is right now, this is just for 2021. So when you do your 2021 taxes, you're going to want to make sure that any new children that you have are listed on as dependents when you do your tax returns. That would make a huge difference in terms of the amount of child tax credit that you would actually get back. And of course, the all-important question, when are all these checks getting sent out? When can we expect to see them in our mailbox, in our bank accounts, these debit cards? When are they actually all coming out? So as it stands right now, Nancy Pelosi and the House of Representatives are going to get the bill from Chuck Schumer to pass it on Tuesday. They are most likely going to pass it on Tuesday. There's really nothing holding them back. They have the majority to do so, and once they do so, they're going to send it right to Joe Biden's desk. From what I read, it's assumed that he's probably going to sign it on Wednesday. Now, the time frame for stimulus checks and direct deposits to be sent out, I've seen vary across the board. In fact, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen actually said she can have direct payments going out to bank accounts in as little as 2 days after Joe Biden signs that. So if he signs it on a Wednesday, there's a possibility that at least the first group of people could be getting these direct deposits as soon as Friday. Now, based on some other reports that I was reading, most likely it's going to start probably Monday, hitting more and more bank accounts, and take probably 1 to 2 weeks for all the direct deposits to go out. Paper checks would then follow along with the debit cards. The IRS has mentioned several times now that they've streamlined this and they can get money out much, much quicker than the previous stimulus checks. In fact, for the CARES Act, I had to wait about 3.5 months to get my check in the mail, which actually came in the form of a debit card. So they've definitely had that learning curve there, and things operate much, much quicker now. So next week, we are looking for a very big week, starting Monday when it looks like we'll get to see the finalized bill that the Senate has voted on, that they're going to send over to Nancy Pelosi in the Senate, and of course confirm that in fact the House will vote for it and pass it on Tuesday. So if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. It really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video.